I'm doing the class. So a 2-hour advanced illustration masterclass with the phenomenal Tatiana, who I'm about to introduce you to in a minute. I promise you this is going to be amazing, right? Now, if you are watching on Facebook and you've got any friends who you think would also love to learn all the techniques we're going to share with you, please click share on this feed and it'll share it onto your wall, which means your friends can see, but also this then stays on your wall for you to come back and watch. And then the workbook that you need to work along with us is completely free to download. You can go and download this workbook on our website. So when I say workbook, let me show you exactly what it is. You're going to download the workbook on the website. Details will come up in there. We'll put them in the comments so you can see exactly where to go for this. Download it and print it out onto our alcohol marker cardstock. Okay, really important. You want a great cardstock to work on. So like our Nina cardstock would be perfect. And then I'll give you a little sneaky peek of what we're going to do. We're going to first of all learn about gradient. Now, all of these pieces of artwork Tatiana has actually drawn for us to use to learn this technique specifically, and she's shown you exactly what sets and what colours we're going to be using. We're going to be using our Illustrator markers for these, our high-end artist pens. You also get some of these printed out a little bit bigger so that you can either print the smaller one or you can print the bigger one. We're going to learn a little bit more about gradients, doing a landscape on here. Then we're going to learn about how to overlay colour. Then, so you get all of this artwork in big again. We're then going to do a bit of work on transparency. It's quite an advanced class. We're going to be on a while, Derek, I can tell you. We're going to learn about spreading colour with another marker. And then again, you've got all of that artwork. And then the last one, if we get right through till the end, is we're going to learn about using the blender pen to create light dots on your coloured backgrounds. Now, for each of these, Derek, what we've done is we've put out the colours that you're going to need to use right on here if you want to follow along and do exactly the workshop that Tatiana and I are doing. And what we've done is we've put together the colours. I say we. There's been no Sarah involved in this week. Tatiana has put together the colours because Tatiana actually put together these sets. Now, I need to give you a little bit of background on Tatiana. So I met Tatiana at there was a massive trade conference happens once a year over in Germany every January, and last January Tatiana just came by our booth as an artist, got chatting to us and some of my colleagues on the stand, and started playing with our Illustrator pens and fell in love with them straight away. And she talked to us a little bit about her story, how she uses markers. And bear in mind, when we put a lot of our marker sets together, we're doing them very much from a craft perspective. She started pulling out pens and put the ideas together from an artist perspective. So what we did was we've now worked with Tatiana to help us develop our collection of markers to speak to both the crafters and also the artists out there, okay? Now, I'm going to bring her up on the screen so you can meet her and see her, because Tatiana, she's from Russia originally, but she lives in Berlin now. So Tatiana's coming live to us from Berlin. Give everyone a wave, Tat.
Hi, happy to see everyone, and thank you for joining today. I'm sure you will learn a lot of cool techniques, and the best thing is that most of them are pretty easy, though they look complicated. But don't worry, I will get you through, and at the end you will experiment with markers like never before.
I hope you're right, Tatiana, because you're so easy. I mean, like I said, I was actually really nervous about taking. Bear in mind, I've got to take the class live in front of thousands of other people. Everybody else can do it from the comfort of their own home. But I know I was reading on your blog, and actually we'll have to put the details up in the comments of your website so people can go and read about you, start following you on Instagram or Facebook and have a look on your blog. But I loved reading that your passion is really to try and inspire other aspiring artists and to show them that through a little bit of knowledge is kind of power, I guess, when it comes to this, and you will be able to develop the skills that you need through having that little bit of knowledge, and that's what I'm hoping you're going to share with us today.
Yes, my desire is to show others how actually user-friendly and beginner-friendly markers are, because they look like such maybe foreign technique for many people, but actually they are very easy to begin with, and that's what I really love about them, that you don't have this crazy learning curve that is common for like watercolors or other paints. Here you just take it and you start drawing, so you just need a bit of introduction to learn some techniques, and then you can build on your own, you can experiment and get fantastic results. And what I love that everyone I try teaching markers, they get something wonderful within one class. So you don't have to study that long. So you just take one class and then you already know something, and you're happy to show it to your friends, family, maybe put it in a frame and just share it with the world.
Awesome. Well, I'm going to hold you to that, because by the end of this 2 hour, we've got you for the whole 2 hours. And this isn't like one of our regular shows. We are literally going to spend the 2 hours head down in a colouring coma, as we call them. And the great thing is you just do the talking. I won't have to worry about the talking. I can just worry about having fun doing all of the colouring in and hopefully learning these fabulous techniques. Brilliant. Right, so I'm going to get ready. So if you are following along with us at home and you've already got your printout out, what you're going to need to do is you're going to need to get Technique 1 sheet ready. And I'm going to start and get my first few colours out. Derek's going to walk you through which sets we're using for anyone who doesn't have these, wants to get hold of these markers, and then you can take the class as soon as your markers are delivered and work along as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I will. And what I'll do is if and when everyone disappears into a colour coma, then I will come here to the Crafters TV Facebook page and share with you the comments as well. If you've got any questions for Tatiana, I mean, this is if you think about it, a 2 hour workshop, or even call this a half-day workshop with an artist one-on-one right now is absolutely brilliant, and normally would cost you a fair few pounds or dollars, wouldn't it? Which is brilliant. Now, if you do want to get hold of your illustrators, we have got epic opportunities for you to be able to do that. Now, we have a bundle here of 10 packs of 4 of our professional illustrator pens here. They are absolutely brilliant. So you've got 40 pens in total there. They've got wonderful collection names as well. Things like delicate and vintage and verdant and fiery and aquatic and natural, stylish, basics, essentials, and lots more. You've got your botanicals in there as well. So a huge range of different colours there. 10 sets gives you 40 altogether. Original, or the price should be £99 or $149.50. You can see today's price there, £75 or $112. And the brilliant thing about this is there's also a multi-buy on the 4-piece as well, which we'll come back to later. But we have got a larger bundle for you as well, which would actually get you straight away 88 incredible illustrator pens plus so much more. So your big bundle here that we've got for you, always the best value in the biggest bundle, of course, is everything you've seen so far, plus 4 sets of 12-piece illustrator sets, sketching, figure, landscape and seascape. You'll also get 2 sets of the universal 6-tray black pen trays. Now that will hold 144 pens. We're also going to put into that bundle 16 sheets of the Nina Solar White, which is perfect to use with the illustrators. You've also got a Mother Nature stamp in there and a Finesse alcohol proof in the Pebble too. Now, coming back to the 4-piece, now that's brilliant. That's £180, $300 on that is brilliant. That's a saving of over 20%. Now, we also, on the 4-piece sets, we actually have a multi-buy this afternoon as well. So if you've been looking at the 4-piece pen sets, then they're actually on a multi-buy. So that's everything you're getting with the larger bundle. So all of the 4-piece sets, 4 of the 12-piece sets, the storage trays, which is more than enough for all the 88 pens, the illustrators that you will get in those, plus your Nina card, plus your stamp, and your ink in there as well. £180, $300. It's amazing. That's going to get you a lot of Club Inspired points as well if you want to come and join us for that as well. Love it. So shall we have a look back at our 4-piece sets then, because these have the multi-buy, and this multi-buy has been really popular even before we started the show as well. So if you want to look through on the website while you're shopping the show before we all start colouring, if you have a look at all the 4-piece selections here, you can buy any 2 of the 4-piece sets for £17 or $25, and that's what a lot of you have been going for. If you're looking to supplement a collection that you already have, just have some different colours, then you can. Now, in the first demonstration, we're going to need the ocean botanical and stylish set. So if you're following along, if you've got any of the 4-piece set so far, we're going for botanical and stylish in our first demonstration. Enough from me though, Sarah. We want to get started, don't we?
Oh yes, well I've got the pens out that Tatiana's instructed. So from now, and there's quite a few people, I'm just reading through a lot of your comments here. People are saying, can I do these techniques with the tri-blends? Can I do them with the Spectrum Noir pens? So these are alcohol pen techniques. So you can do this with any of your alcohol pens, okay? So any of the alcohol pens that you've got. The reason we're using the Illustrators is because a lot of the higher end artists use that fabulous brush nib. So I've got the Illustrator out so that we can do these techniques with the brush nib. So, but if you are, as long as you've got alcohol markers, whatever they are, you can colour along with us at home and join in. And also you don't have to do these exact same colours. Tatiana's picked the colours out for us to work with, but if you don't have exactly these colours, at least you can try the techniques with different colours. But then also you'll be able to see us working with that lovely brush nib. Right, so I'm going to get Tatiana up. Right, Tatiana, I am ready to start on the gradient project, and we're going to try and keep it split screen like this, but we'll probably spend a little bit more time looking at what you're doing. So I've got my pens out and I'm ready to go. I'm going to follow you.
Wonderful. Can you see my table or not for now?
We'll switch it and get your table up there for you now. Brilliant. Our director Daniel is working on it and he's going to get us your table up. So I've got the first page out. One thing that I always like to tell people in case they are working along is it's really good to put yourself a blank sheet underneath. So always working, can you see, you put like a blank sheet of the same cardstock underneath because you will get a little bit of movement on that. So if you pop your blank sheet underneath, I'm going to get this ready and working. What I will do, Tatiana, just while we get your table up, is I'm just going to show everybody the brush nib that we've got on these pens. So your Illustrator pens, it's exactly the same ink as we have in our Classique pens, the Spectrum Noir, the Tri-Blends, they're all the same inks, just you've got a different nib combination. So you've got this beautiful brush nib as well as the ultra fine nib. So very, very different nib combination to what you have on your regular Spectrum Noir pens, so that if you are wanting to work with these both together in conjunction with each other, they'll all play nicely and give you, if you had, for example, this is the MG1, if you had MG1 in the Illustrator and MG1 in the Classique, then you will have the same colour, you just have 4 different nibs. So that's the Illustrators. Right, Tatiana, I think we can switch to your overhead now. Right, we can see exactly what you've got in front of you.
So yes, I hope you can see the card in front of you with the 1 color gradient.
Yep.
That's what we are aiming at, though this one is done with the whole family of MG, so from 1 to 5. And
Fabulous.
family is usually, can you see? I don't know, just let me take off the nib. We call families usually these letters. So markers with the same letters are usually referred as family. And the number means the lightness. So the smaller the number, the lighter the color is. So the bigger the number, the darker the shade is. And when we start blending gradients, we usually start from light to dark because it's the easiest way to blend colors. There is only one drawback, that you usually take a bit more ink if you start from the light because you overlay the dark on top. But let me just show you how it goes. We have this lovely flamingo in front of us, and I glued it to my table so it doesn't move. That's why I left these margins around, so I don't have to worry that my tape will damage an artwork. It's just now nice and stable, and then I can cut out to the size I want. And as Sarah mentioned, it's important to have a piece of paper underneath your artwork because some ink can leak through the paper, and you don't want to leave any stains on the table. So to be safe, I have this additional piece of paper on my table. So, okay, let's start with coloring. We take MG1, or you can start with any light pink you want. And let's start with the head of flamingo. So we just put pink over the whole head. And I use the brush nib because it can cover larger surfaces than a very fine nib.
I've written my name on mine, Tatiana, just in case everybody, you know, because I'm going to be so good at this by the end of it. I didn't want them to get confused and think that yours was mine.
And I think I might play referee in the middle as well between both of you. You're both doing very well so far.
Wonderful. I mean, I don't see any problem with Sarah being really great at this. And the good thing about the brush, you don't have to worry too much how you move. You can move in circles, you can move in lines. The core idea is that you don't don't raise the nib from the paper. That's the way how you can make it very even, very nice. And it also a lot depends on paper. We have wonderful paper here that allows us to color things beautifully and not to worry that things won't blend or something.
Our Derek is busy reading everybody's comments. We've got hundreds of people, Tatiana, watching on both Facebook and YouTube. So what we'll have to do is see if we can get Derek popping up and reading comments as we're going as well.
Yes, I'll watch you painting the flamingo there. Nancy says that this show is absolutely perfectly timed because her full set of illustrators has just arrived, Sarah, which I think is absolutely brilliant. So she can join in and get going.
It's wonderful.
And anyone else with their alcohol markers can get the download right now. Just go to the website and you'll find the download there, and you can colour along with us as well. This is a great way to round off the week, Sarah, isn't it? How relaxing is this?
Oh, it's going to be great. You're going to lose me. Not just brilliant, Tatiana. So I'll be quiet. You tell me what we're doing next.
Yes, we are taking MG3 and we will draw some shadows on the neck. So shadows are usually at the bottom. So for example, we have it here where the neck curls. Mm-hmm. So we apply the shadow.
And I'm doing this with the brush nib again. Yep.
Yes, because it's really easy to cover large areas and we don't have that many details so far. And we take the lighter shade again, MG1, and now we blend the border between them. So we put the lighter color in contact with the darker one and it washes it a bit away, but it makes everything look smooth and nice. So we don't have a rough border, but now everything looks nice. And if you feel like you don't have enough shadow, you can always come back and edit a bit. We have, for example, shadow here under the eye to make it pop a bit. So we'll draw this.
So Tatiana, when you're adding shadows in, do you add a little bit and then step back from it and then think, okay, where else would that shadow be?
Yes, I think it's nice to start slowly with shadows because markers are very hard to lighten, so you can always go darker until it's black, but you can't usually go very, very light if you chose a very dark color. So it's good to add shadows slowly so your artwork doesn't become too dark and that you don't have to use black for shadows, because we want it to be bright and colorful and joyful.
It really pops that color, doesn't it?
Yes, and we also have a shadow on the other side of the neck, on the left side. So let's add it. So it looks round, so it's not flat. And you can really use the brush here to just slide next to the line, and it glides over paper very smoothly and allows you to create a beautiful line which is not rough. That's why I definitely prefer, whenever possible, to use brush nibs, because of this very smooth effect when you draw. It's a bit harder to achieve with the bullet nib that you have on other markers.
That's beautiful. By the way, if you're watching this right now and you want to join in, The link to get the downloads is pinned in the comments. So if you come to the Crafters TV Facebook page right now and come and join in, ask Tatiana any questions you like and I'll pass them on for you. But you can also get the download from our website as well. You will find it there. Because actually, do you know what? Just watching all of you do this, it's great. It's really calming, isn't it? And that's what Colour Me Happy is all about. It's about taking that few hours out, isn't it? And just locking yourself away. Now, Tatiana, usually when you're illustrating, do you like illustrating with peace and quiet? Do you have music? Do you prefer to be indoors or outdoors? Tell us a bit more about you.
Oh, it's a tricky question. I think it depends what I'm drawing. I love to draw at my table. Right now, I am in my, I would call home studio, on my standing desk, which is really, I think, good. Not to sit the whole day, but to stand up and draw sometimes. Here, I like to make big illustrations and complex ones, but I also like to go to cafes just to draw buildings or maybe what I see on my table. Because it's quick, it's rough, so it's more energetic, not so well thought through. I can show you some examples if you see me right now. Like my
we can see you, Tatiana. Yeah, let's see some examples of what you've been working on.
We would love to.
Just a second, like one of the latest ones. For example, a quick architecture sketch.
Wow.
Oh my word.
Yes.
That looks great.
That's stunning.
So yeah, this is like very quick and rough, but it's more energetic and emotional. And
gorgeous. That's really lovely.
That's why you can see some rough lines, and I wanted them to be like that so it preserves the mood. So it's not very, very thorough.
So you can always relate a sketch to a time and a place and remember where you were and how you felt and everything else. Right, how are we getting on with our flamingo? Where are we going to next?
I'm ready for the next bit,
I need
Tatiana.
to get Sarah working again.
Okay, now I want to make some dark shadows inside flamingo, just to show you how it is done, because we don't have the whole range here. So we will use several layers of the same shade to create a very dark but at the same time colorful shadow. So we have this area in the tail, so we can fully cover with MG3. And also the brush nib allows us to get in all these small areas without any problem, because it's very thin. So you can nicely color it without going over the lines.
Yeah, it's amazing how fine that fine nib is on the end here, Tatiana. It does make it really easy, doesn't it?
Yes, it's really nice.
Tatiana, quick question. I know a couple of people have noticed the way you're holding the pen. Is that going to give you more kind of detailed control? Is that just your preference as an artist?
Well, it's a bit of both. First of all, I hold everything, all the pens very close to the end. That I hold my writing pen the same way. And of course, the further away you hold the pen to the end, the less control you have over it. So the closer to the edge, the more control you have. So if you want to draw like long lines, you have to go further away. If you want to draw like small details, you have to go very close to the nib. But I personally hold everything like that, so it's I can't do it any other way. But yeah, now our first layer is dry. We can put another on top.
So I'm just going over the same area again with another layer of the same colour.
Yes, and it will get darker. And we can actually repeat the process as many times as we want. But it has to dry first a bit, because otherwise we will be just pushing away the ink, not letting it get inside the paper. And it's actually a wonderful way to get your shadows darker, because sometimes you don't, like, we can't have markers of all possible colors. It's just not possible. So sometimes you just need to get darker and overlay it.
Brilliant.
So it's also a good reference for us if we know, for example, this is the darkest part of our bird, so everything else has to be lighter. So we have to keep it in mind when we create, so we don't get it too dark.
No problem. Right, what's next then? Which bit next?
We'll go and make a shadow next to the neck. It's like will be a drop shadow, so we separate neck from the body. So we use again MG3. And I'll just make a nice line. I won't make it very thick, but just to show the separation.
And I'll just remind, just while you're, sorry, Tatiana, just 1 second. I'm just while you pop in that drop shadow, I'll just remind you that it's, if you're going for the multi-buys of the 4 packs of the Illustrators here, it's the Botanical and the Stylish that we're using right now on the Flamingo. Sorry, Tatiana, you were saying?
No problem. Yes, here we can use all these feathers as a guide for us to show. For example, here I colored the whole feather for the shadows, so it's easier. And now, because I don't want this shadow to be that rough, I will blend this edge a bit. And this is another way how you can blend colors, so you can put the darker one first and then add a lighter one. It gives a bit different effect, so we preserve more of a darker color and we spend less of lighter one. But I think it's more like a preference who prefers to work from shadows and who prefers to work from the lights. It's
so this is blending us back into the actual body of the plumage then a little bit.
Yes.
Wow.
And now we can work on its like belly to again make it more round. And I would like to leave some areas white for now, because we can show some texture by adding dots, like small feathers on it. So I will take the light one and
is this with the lightest pen, Tatiana, or
yes,
the MG1 or the
MG1?
MG1.
I will start with this. And I will use again the drawing of feathers as my guide where I want to color it, like the boundary. Yeah, as we're in the topic of boundaries, a lot of people are afraid of drawing because they say, oh, I can't draw, it's so complicated. But right now there are so many ways how you can draw without actually knowing how to draw, if that makes sense. For example, you can always print out some outlines. You can trace them using light table or even window. You can use stamps.
That's a good idea. So you could take an image from elsewhere through a light box up into a piece of paper and establish your boundaries from that, like from a real photo or something like that. Do you mean?
Yes, you can do this because, for example, these ones for drawing precisely this way, I just made it on my computer, but I didn't draw them by hand because I just wanted to show this effect that you can take a photo. Like, I'll just show it's a bit change of color, so it fits for me. So I took this photo and then I traced the outline. Because of course you can do it by hand, but you don't have to. It's not a requirement. It doesn't make you less of an artist if you use some support. Because never forget that even the great ones, they used a lot of tricks to create the beautiful paintings we know. It's just a stereotype that they didn't do anything. For example, there is a famous device, it's called camera obscura, if I'm pronouncing it right.
Yes, you are.
It was a kind of a projector, and so that's how they projected the outlines of an object on the canvas. And there is a famous painting where they have a very strange projection of a human skull, because it's not clear what it is unless you use a mirror or projected to make it back into the right shape. So
Yes.
to get this projection, they needed this device. And that was used, it was normal. It's just now that people believe that there is some obligation for artists to be able to draw everything. I mean, it's nice, but it's not something that has to limit you.
Yes, no, I completely understand. Now, just because we are starting to run out of time in this section, I'm just keen to understand from you, where we've got the more detailed lines through the plumage, how do we approach that? Because I think we've kind of, especially seeing that photo, we've got our head around the kind of shadowing there and how that works and how you can take that from the photo to that. But what about through the plumage itself? Because you've got more detail there as well.
Yes, for the plumage, we again first focus on the shadows, and we can use our lines as guides. For example, I want this wing to be separate from the body, so of course I will start with drawing around the edge, and then I will just blend it. So, because my goal is to separate two parts.
So again, we're establishing our boundaries.
Yes, this is the easiest way to think about that. You always have to keep the boundaries in mind, and that you always walk from the boundaries. And here you can see how nice the brush nib is. So if I press lightly, I can imitate feather-like structure. So I don't have to color it fully. I can just use something like strokes to create those nice feathers.
So you're almost tackling them one by one as an individual kind of section and following the line that the feather would naturally take. You're brushing in the same way.
Yes, we use the strokes to create texture, and the texture follows the shape. So if I walk on a belly, like I'm doing right now because I didn't blend it yet, I follow the shape to make it round and even, because with the strokes we can also show the shape and make
Tatiana,
it clearer.
Is it the fact that we didn't blend that stomach straight away, the tummy of the bird, and came back and did it later, is that okay? You don't have to do it while it's still wet?
You can do it both ways. This was just to show that it's possible to do it later. So, for example, if somebody called you, somebody disturbed you, your artwork is not ruined. You can go back and you can blend it. Sometimes, I think in this paper you can even do it the next day or even later. It may take a bit more work from you, but it's still possible. It's easier when it's wet, but it's still possible. So you don't have to worry somebody interrupted you, or that you maybe don't have the whole hour for your artwork. You can always go back and work on it. So that's completely okay.
Excellent. So our producer Laura says we've got about 2 minutes left on this one. Is there anything else on this one that we need to learn a little bit different to the technique you've shown us, or is it just continuing on with more of the same?
Let's show some texture. I have some space left on the neck, and for example, I don't have here a lighter shade than MG1, and I want to make it light. So what can I do is to use, for example, small dots, just to create an imitation of feathers and some structure.
Oh, wow.
So it will be like an optical illusion that it's lighter, but it's technically it's not. It's just lighter because there are some gaps, and I can make smaller or bigger ones. And because it's a brush nib, I can make it very nice and flexible and lively, so it doesn't look like how to say.
And then that blends
boring,
beautifully into the shadowing, getting down towards the bottom of the neck and the belly again. Wow.
And then I can make a bit bigger strokes, pressing at the beginning and then just letting it go, and so we get feathers. So a bit like that. So we
Gosh,
get
it's
some
so simple,
feathery-
isn't it? You would think most of the time the temptation would be to just colour the whole thing one shade and then work on different shades, and this has opened up some doors. Has it for you as well, Sarah?
Yes, and I'm terrible, Derek, because I didn't have the. I was always slightly colouring ahead, so I'd already done a lot of the neck. I hadn't left my white bit, but I have enjoyed playing with the brush nib a little bit more.
It's awesome though. They both look awesome. They really, really do. Now, Tatiana, and I'm sorry to do this, but there is a show that we have here in the UK. You might have heard of it, called Blue Peter. And what happens is, whatever you're being shown, being demonstrated, whether it being something being cooked or built or whatever, the expert always has a finished one to just reveal and show us. Have you got a completed flamingo there that we can whiz in?
Sadly, no. I wasn't told that it should be.
Oh, okay.
Maybe
No,
next
that's
time.
fine. That's fine. You can carry on while we do other things, actually, because that's really, really lovely.
Are we just going through the same thing, Tatiana? Are we just going to do more of those feathers? Right, if you and I keep our colouring on them, we'll let Derek check in with all of our viewers. We'll keep colouring, and then we're coming back. So then, am I right in thinking, Tatiana, the next technique is still on gradient, but we're going to use the fiery set?
Yes, so we will make gradient from several colors, because that's how you can get a real diversity and very beautiful effects. And it's not as complicated as it may seem, because we will make a gradient out of 4 colors, but it will actually be a very easy and nice experience.
Brilliant.
And yes, now we can just walk through and finish the feathers. And we can use the darker grays from Stylish for the end of the beak and for the legs.
Right.
Oh, okay.
Go on, you do that. We better watch that bit.
Yes.
We better watch the grey bit.
I'm loving this.
So
We needed a 4-hour show,
for example,
didn't
we take IG6 and we can apply at the edge to give it a nice... to give it a more finished look, I would say. And then we can take a darker one, IG10, and just separate the two parts a bit.
I love
And again,
it.
this is like the same color, or not like the same family, so it's very easy to blend these two. You just need like really a second and you get this nice effect.
Tatiana, you carry on. I'm just going to appear in a little screen next to you. You carry on with what you're doing there, right? While I just remind everybody at home of the offers that we have. Actually, if you want to get hold of your illustrators, it's funny, isn't it? Because actually, we were getting lost in a sea of pink there with our flamingo, and we forgot that it has a big beak, which is a completely different color, and everything else. And we could see that all coming together. Now, the illustrators, we've got the 4-piece collections for you, and there are. I'll tell you what, they're absolutely brilliant. You can go for a big bundle, which is 10 sets of the 4, so that would give you 40 of the illustrators. And isn't it funny now that we've seen the different shading on even the flamingo, which is almost entirely pink, just how versatile one illustrator can be. Now we've picked up some techniques as well. Now the ones that we've been using so far is the botanical and the stylish for the flamingo. So that's the complete collection, and that's got in it delicate and vintage and verdant and fiery and aquatic and natural, stylish, basic, essentials and botanicals for £75, $112. But we also have a multi-buy on these as well, which I am very, very pleased indeed. So you can multi-buy any 2 of the 4 packs of the illustrators. Maybe you've never even tried an illustrator before. Maybe you have some of our other alcohol markers, but seeing this, you think, oh, actually, I quite like the detailing that gives me. I quite like the intensity of the shading that gives me as well. So that is 2 for £17 or $25, which is really good for your multi-buy. There is an entire bundle, by the way, which has many more illustrators on it, and the storage for the illustrators and some Nina card as well. You can get hold of the Nina card. We've got the Nina card in the show as well, haven't we, Laura, I think? Yeah, we've got the Nina solar card. So a couple of people were asking about the type of card for this, so you can get the Nina card in the show as well. Let's go back and check it and see. Oh, now look, let's go back to Tatiana, and we are almost there. Now, would you leave it at that stage, or have we got anything else to complete, Tatiana?
I would add some yellow to the eye to also highlight it.
Oh yes, yeah.
And so we will have this beautiful. And we can quickly add some gray to legs if you want to. Again, remembering that we have our source of light somewhere on the right top. So all our shadows are bottom and left.
Love it. Let's put. We'll come back, Tatiana, in just a moment. Actually, we'll come back to like in all good television programs. We're going to go for end of part 1 and come back to part 2 and move on to a technique which blends using 4 different colours as well, which would be really, really interesting. If you're loving what we're doing and you want to see what we've got on offer in the show as well, here's how you can watch and shop all at the same time.
Hi, I'm Joe from Crafters TV, and I'm here to show you how you can grab the best deals and shop whilst you watch during our shows. So the best way to watch us is always on Crafters TV. Head on over to our homepage and go to Crafters TV. You can see all of our shows, offers, and even shop while you watch. Now if you want to get involved and comment along, head over to our Facebook page. Come say hello, ask us some questions, and lol with us. Or you can watch us on YouTube. Simply head to our Crafters Companion YouTube channel. Got a smart TV? You can even AirPlay directly onto your big screen. We're constantly adding new and exciting shows to our schedule, so don't forget to check in. It's never been easier to have us in your living room. It's always fun here at Crafters TV, so come join us as we create every day.
So that's how you do it. It's very, very simple. This is a brilliant and very, very different Colour Me Happy as well. It's very chilled out, it's very relaxed as well, but we are picking up lots and lots of techniques from a professional artist as well, which is brilliant. So let me show you what we have got in the show, because we have one big overall bundle which gets you all of the 4-piece collection plus 4 of the 12-piece Illustrator collections plus the storage, which is enough for 144 pens. You've got some Nina solar card and some ink as well. £180, $300 on this one, and I've got all the pen counts as well. So you'll end up with 88 of the Illustrators. So that's going to keep you going for an awful long time, isn't it? That's going to give you every possibility, isn't it? Plus you've got your storage in that big bundle as well. I love this. So you've got the 4 packs and the 12 packs there in all of the Illustrators. £180, $300 on that one, and lots of you have gone for that complete set actually, and it's quite a big leap as your first leap into it, but it's a nice brave step, isn't it, into the world of colouring and the fun that it can be, and all of those different blending techniques as well. So that is your overall bundle, but if you want something a little bit more sort of selected, what you can do is go for our 4-piece collection. Now our 4-piece bundle gives you 10 sets of the 4 packs of Illustrators there. So you've got the ones that we're using in the show as well. So far we've used the Botanicals and the Stylish. You've got Delicate and Vintage and Verdant. You can see it brings you lots and lots of different colours as well. Some a little bit more organics and neutrals, and some really pop with colour as well. £75, $112. You can also multi-buy on the Illustrator 4 packs as well. 2 of those for £17 or $25. This is such an amazing show though, I have to tell you. I am really loving it. And it's great, all of the things that we're picking up in such a short time, Sarah.
I know, I'm looking forward to the second technique. Do you want to see my flamingo, by the way?
Yes.
There's my flamingo. I'll just see overhead. So, I've just realised I forgot to blend this bit down here. I'm going to have to work on that way. But other than that, Quite pleased with how my flamingo turned out.
As you would say, Sarah, champion.
Champion.
It's brilliant.
Right, so we're still on with gradient, Tatiana, and I'm ready with my second sheet so that we can start on using the different colours for the gradient that you talked about.
Wonderful. The key for gradients is to choose colors that are close enough to each other that you can blend them. So, for example, here, if you can see my table, we go from yellow to orange to darker reddish orange and to very dark. And that's what we are going to do, though these colors are different. They were chosen the way that they complement each other and they blend really well. That was my key idea for choosing the colors for each set, that you can blend them beautifully and that you can create a lot of different color combinations with them. So it's not just 4 pens, it's actually, it's 4 pens, but it's many more shades that you can create with just 4 pens.
Excellent, I've got them ready.
So this is a fiery set. We'll take the lightest one, the yellow GY2. And for here, I want the bottom to be light, where the sun sets, and the upper part to be darker. And so we just start coloring here pretty freely. We don't have to think. And a good thing about having margins is that I can accidentally cross them and I don't have to worry because I will just cut it off. So it's a good thing about having extra margins. And you can use as much or as little yellow as you want to. And you see, I'm not very much worried to make it very even because the ink and the paper do most of the work for me. So and varying the amount of color, we can create different moods. We can make a darker or lighter landscape.
So am I laying down all of this section in the yellow, Tatiana?
Just, I wouldn't say all, but just enough as you feel like, okay, this is enough for me. I don't want any more yellow. For example, I think I will stop here. I don't want any more yellow, and I will switch to BO1, to the orange one. And I will make it that it's a bit crosses yellow, not much. I don't worry about blending right now. I will do it later. I just need them to overlap so the blending starts a bit because the ink is wet.
Just to let you know, in terms of the sets that we're using, the packs of 4s, we're using natural and fiery in this one. And they're beautiful. They're a really lovely blend of colours, actually. They're really, really lovely.
So the main one is fiery and the natural one is for drawing the lighthouse itself.
So we're going to do all of the landscape with the fiery set.
The whole sky will be with fiery and the ground and the lighthouse with natural. I think they beautifully complement each other, but if you think it's too much orange for your taste, you can take stylish. That's a good thing about those sets. They were made to complement each other, so you can mix and match them as you wish. So you don't have to stick to exact the colors we choose here. So I feel that I'm good with amount of orange. Now I go back to the boundary and just blend it until I'm satisfied. So I can leave it nicer, very smooth. I can make it very nice and smooth, or I can leave it a bit visible because you can see sometimes these layers of color in the sky. But for example, here I want to make it very, very smooth, and you can see how one color disappears in another because this yellow is very nice and golden and it easily melts into the orange.
Do you know, this reminds me of a very fiery sunset I once saw in the fjords of Norway years ago. It's absolutely beautiful. It was like 1 o'clock in the morning and it was like the sky was on fire, and you're recreating that atmosphere, Tatiana, in this.
Yes, this is like a beautiful set for not only sunsets. You can draw fire, candlelight, just using different combinations of those. Now I will take coral, it's CR5, and color till the cloud. So I will make it here, the dark one.
So now what we're just going up to, is what we're just going up to meet, is that land in the distance, or is that some clouds?
This is a cloud. This is a cloud,
That's a
and
cloud,
this is
yeah.
the land.
Ah, okay, yes.
It's good to draw some objects in the sky too, because otherwise you're stuck with coloring evenly a big portion, and that is usually pretty complicated and can be tiresome, and for some people it can get actually boring. So having something there actually leaves you with less sections to color at a time. So you see, I don't have to take this or anything here, and I don't have to worry that it won't blend because I have a boundary in between them.
I'm being that really annoying student, Tatiana, who's like trying to jump ahead. I'm the most impatient person in the world. I'll never make an artist. I don't have the patience.
I don't know. I met artists who are impatient, so I don't think it matters. You just have to find the right technique that works for you. Maybe oils are not your technique because they require a lot of patience, but markers are very quick.
Yeah.
So yeah, now we can go further using coral above the cloud and then transitioning into a dark coral CR9. But you can see how pretty effortlessly, I would say, these colors blend, though they are not from the same family.
Yeah.
It still does not require that much effort.
Ooh,
And
P.
here
Reeves
it's really-
oh, sorry. No, carry on, Tatiana. You carry on.
And here it's really nice to keep your marker ink wet, because it does half of the job for you, so you don't have to worry that much.
I love it. It is so atmospheric. It really is. What I was just about to say, actually,
great.
P. Reeves 72 on YouTube has just said, with Platinum membership, the illustrators are an absolutely brilliant price tag. Well, they are, whether you are or not, I have to tell you. Remember, the website does all of the adding up, or the taking away, should I say, for you. Dances with Pam says, Sarah is used to colouring very fast for her demos. Yeah, it's a real slowdown for you. This is life in the slow lane, isn't it, this afternoon, Sarah, isn't it?
It really is life in the slow lane. This is, yes. And you know what? I hate it if people ever come to my classes and jump ahead of what the teacher's doing. It is, honestly, as a teacher doing it, is the worst thing ever. So I was trying so hard not to be that person who's doing that. I'm trying to second guess what she's going to do next. So I'm just going to have to slow my pace down a little bit and be ready, because I'm trying to pick up the hints and tips and techniques.
There's a lot of people going on a journey of discovery with us as well. Tina says, I'm so glad I'm learning while watching. I get so lost when it comes to colouring. And you can see, we're losing everyone's subject. It's such a quiet show, actually. It's really quite nice just to dive in, isn't it? Jean Tipton as well is watching us on YouTube. She says, I love the variety of shades of each colour available in the complete collection. Yeah, they are really good. If you haven't had a chance to go and have a little look so far, then do. Remember, you can comment on our YouTube channel as well, and on the Crafters TV Facebook page, which I'm at the moment, keeping track of the comments there. So please do. And any questions you have from Tatiana, or for Tatiana, should I say, then please just let us know in the comment. And if you are colouring along and you're following as well, come on, be brave and send us your email pictures right now, studio at crafterscompanion.co.uk. Right, should we go and find out where we're up to with everyone in the class? As Sarah seems to have zoomed off ahead in the lead. You're pretty much finished, aren't you, Sarah?
Yeah, not pretty much finished, but I've got that next shade. What's the next bit on the gradient one, Tatiana? Where are you up to?
I'm going up with CR9 to finish the sky, but I wanted to quickly show you this effect that you can take a brush nib and add some strokes that are a bit darker. So it creates some illusion of clouds. You just take CR5 and draw a couple of lines, and it gives you more dynamic, and it makes it look more realistic.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, I figured out why Sarah is also much quicker, because I'm drawing A5 format while hers is a bit smaller.
Yes. Fabulous. Right. Is that gradient with different colours? Is there anything we need on this one? Because the next one coming up is my favourite and I'm kind of itching to get there, the overlaying.
I think that's the basics, and you just have to experiment and to see what works. But the main rule is you go from light to dark, and you choose the colors that have something in common. You have warm yellow going into yellow orange, orange going into red orange, and then going into darker, nearly red.
Fantastic. I have to tell you, we're all going to turn the page together right now. So if you're following along, we are off on to technique number 3 now. Now, I have to say, Tatiana, when I'm looking at the image here, I mean, call me amateur, because I am very amateur at the moment. I've only been here at Crafters TV for a few weeks, so I'm taking baby steps at the moment. What is this image?
It's hydrangea, the flower.
Ah, beautiful. So many people's favourite flower as well. And we're using, just before you get started on this one, we're using the aquatic and the vintage from the 4-pack Illustrator collection on this one. So overlaying. We're putting colours on top of each other, Tatiana, this time.
Yes, well, let me show you. Overlaying is a very versatile technique. Like one approach, you can make it, you can use it instead of mixing, so the colors kind of get into each other because they're close. They're not blended completely. You can see the boundary, but it makes everything a bit shimmery and moving. Markers have semi-transparent ink, so you can use it to different effects. Like here, pink goes into blue and it creates a beautiful purple. You can actually use it a bit differently to completely create new hues, like bright pink begonia with IB3, bright blue creates this nice purple, and you can make green from CT3 and IB3. So there's like 2 different ways you can use overlaying. Or some people call it layering. I guess it's the preference.
Right, Sarah, pens at the ready.
This is the one I was desperate to learn. So this is completely new for me. I understood a little bit about gradients, Tatiana, but this one is completely new for me. So I've got mine ready. And where are we starting?
We start in the middle on this big top petal. And we start from the bottom. We will take BT2. And we apply maybe 1/4 of it. Just quickly apply. And we use like feather-like strokes at the edge, so it makes it easier for us to blend color, like not to blend, but to overlay colors, sorry. Because the blending will happen not physically, but more like visually, a bit like with Impressionists. So then I take TB2 and I keep using feathery strokes, and I let the color just come in inside each other. And so it looks like they blending, but actually we keep them separately. So we preserve each color, but we make them nicely work together. And I want to apply a lot of this blue, maybe half of the flower petal, sorry. And again, on the other side. I can see how
these are really wet. The colours that you've chosen to go together, Tatiana, I can see why now you've put the ones that you have in the sets, because I never dare venture outside of colours in the same colour family. I would never blend a TB with a BT, for example, like we're doing here. So it's nice to understand that you can do it by not blending but overlaying instead of trying to blend them. I always just try and blend, and obviously these wouldn't, but they will overlay.
You can blend them, but I think you lose some of the effect, because here you preserve it, the difference between them. And then I will take DP1, it's a violet, and I will start from the top and let it come into TB2. So we have it. And now the boundary may seem a bit rough, but don't worry, we will fix it with another layer.
And this is the great thing actually about colouring a hydrangea. I'll tell you that this is one of the best flowers to colour, because again, coming back to this recurring theme with me, I watch too much Gardener's World, but what happens to a hydrangea is its colour changes depending on the soil that it's in, and that determines the colour. And also some of the petals, actually, the end of their petals almost turn leaf-like. Something I just want to explain, by the way, while you're looking at these two images. So this is Sarah's up here I'm pointing at right now, and that will look a little bit different to Tatiana's right now, because obviously Tatiana is on us with us on a video link through the internet, so it's looking a little bit different. We're going all the way to Berlin, and so sometimes the internet quality goes up and down, so it can look a little bit blurry. Sarah's obviously here in a fully lit studio, so you can see the full vibrancy of that. So that's why we're seeing the slight difference in the colour. They're using exactly the same markers. Well, I hope so, Sarah, as well, because you're following along on there, aren't you?
I am. Are we going back in? Did you say we're going to layer back over with the blue now, Tatiana?
Yes, we will add the blue in light strokes on the boundary, and it will add some dimension. So we basically try to achieve effect of looking through multiple layers of colored glass.
Ah, yes.
And it gives a lot of complexity and extra shades, because as we discussed already, when you overlay colors, even the same one, it gets tiny bit darker. And we can add some dots, some strokes, because it's again adds to the whole feel of the petal of the flower, because in nature nothing is colored like a wall, you know? Everything is moving, is alive, and it's different. And this technique allows you to create this effect pretty easily, I would say.
And that makes the difference in anything that is natural, like a petal or a plant or a tree, because, you know, they do have that complexity of colour, don't they?
Yes, it has such a big variety, and when you're trying to catch it all, it's so complicated. And here, the ink does it for you. So it overlays, it plays, and there is some play of light. And I really like to add some dots. Just I'm taking DP1 because it's a bit darker, and it gives you some dimension, and it now looks more like a petal.
It's awesome, isn't it?
I love that, Tatiana. I've never been able to do that. I've never done that. But then I've not done a lot of work with our Illustrator markers. It's the one in our collection that I've used the least. So being able to blend that bit of a petal, that really, I've understood that a lot better now that you've walked me through it and got this perfect blend down here.
I'm happy to hear it. And we can take any other petal and work on it too. For example, this right one. Mm-hmm. I wanted to make a bit more blue-green, so I will use more BT2. This again, because these are flowers, you can vary the amount of color, and it only makes it better. So you don't have to use the precise amount, because each petal is unique. It's a bit different, and with this technique, you always get a bit different result, because it's kind of free and truthful. The main thing is to leave the boundary not straight like a line, but kind of feathery, and then you will have easier time blending colors.
And that's where it really helps having that Illustrator nib, isn't it? It's an absolute joy to work with. I mean, I use the alcohol pens a lot. My favourite are the tri-blends, which is what I was showing when you first came onto our stand at the show, wasn't it?
Yes, I really love tri-blends, especially when I sketch outside, because I don't have to take too many pens with me, because as an artist I can never get enough of color. I want them all with me. So I can take 3 times less than I would normally do.
Yeah.
And this is a nice way, because by wearing pressure I can get a lot of ink, like here with the line, or I can get just feathery strokes, so it's barely nothing is coming out.
Right, I think I'm doing slightly different. I'm using, I'm doing another petal with the same colours again because I love them, Tatiana. So, but I think I'm doing slightly different to you. But I think it's okay because we've learnt that overlaying technique. What's the next technique that we're going to go to after this one?
After this, we will learn about transparency, how to make beautiful transparent wings for a dragonfly.
Wonderful. That sounds fantastic. Right, we'll come back to that in just a second while after everybody is echoing exactly what I'm thinking as well. I feel a little bit guilty because I don't feel like I'm really doing much in this show, but just watching, awestruck at what's happening. A lot of you are doing that as well. Astrid says, seriously, I haven't felt this chilled in ages. Well, that's what this show is all about. It's about introducing you to the pleasure and the calm of escaping into a world of colouring. It's absolutely brilliant. She also says, Astrid also says, my hubby sat next to me colouring too. So you know what, you're getting everybody involved as well, which is absolutely brilliant. That's exactly what we should be doing as we go into the weekend. Right, okay, let me remind you, and lots of you are going for our full Illustrator collection. And it's kind of like an Illustrator collection plus, because you get so much here. You get 88 of the Illustrator pens. So all of the 4 packs that we've been showing you, and remember, we're using the 4 packs per technique that we've seen with Tatiana. We're using 2 of the 4 packs every single time. So you're getting all of those that we're featuring on the show. You're getting a 4 selection of 12 pack of Illustrators as well. So the seascape, the landscape, the figure and the sketching. You're also getting the Mother Nature stamp there as well, which will really get you started with experimenting with these techniques as well. Plus, I love that idea that Tatiana had earlier of shining up an image through a light box, tracing the outline and actually then creating your own image, maybe from a photo you have. You also get 16 sheets of the Nina Solar White in this, plus your Finesse alcohol proof pebble as well. So you get an ink in here too for £180, $300. It's proving really popular this afternoon. I am not surprised. Now, let me just take you to the multi-buy on the 4 packs of Illustrators as well. Now, as we go through, if you've got the download for this show, every time we move on to a new technique, it will show you the 2 packs of Illustrators that we're using to demonstrate that technique as well. So that will all be there. And you get 2 for £17 or $25, which is really good. Now, as we move on to our next technique on a dragonfly, now dragonflies are fascinating. You can imagine the colours that are going to come in here. We're going to be using the aquatic and the essentials 4 packs for this one. And remember, you can buy them individually if you like as well, $9.99 or $14.95. But the multi-buy, getting 2 for $17 or $25, just makes a lot of sense, doesn't it? And lots of you, lots more than we thought might on a Friday afternoon, go for the full collection, have indeed done that as well. And Tatiana, I think that a lot of that is thanks to your inspiration as well today.
I'm happy to inspire, and I hope many people will try markers, because it's really a very easy to get into material, and I like how much you can experiment it and how much joy and fun it can bring, especially if you let go.
I was reading on your website that you said that everyone can learn how to colour. Everyone can be taught, can't they?
Yes, I believe that everyone can learn, and it's a stereotype that somebody is born gifted, and so it's only their abilities that allow them to create. We're all creative by nature. We create in very different ways. and you just have to let yourself do this. And it usually takes a lot of just confidence, I think.
Yes.
To let yourself to say I can, and all the rest follows.
And a little bit of expert advice as well from you. Right, listen, Sarah's raring to go again, and we all love dragonflies as well. So let's get into transparency, shall we?
Okay. I hope you can all see the dragonfly outline. And now I'm taking BT2 from Aquatic. And I will start with the top left wing. And for that, I will also need a blender a bit later. So I will color the wing maybe up to the middle, I would say.
Just colour across the whole thing?
Yes, just up to the middle, like top half, I would say. You can do as much or as little as you want. It's the beauty of markers, that you don't have to do it like everyone else does. You can do it the way you want. And you can use here nice big strokes.
Oh, I did. I did it in record time, Tatiana. No flies on this one. That's an English saying, no flies here.
Pardon the pun.
So yeah, and now I take blender. It's a colorless one. And I'll start from the bottom where the ink ends, and I'll just wash it away a bit until I'm satisfied. And by washing away the ink, you create a nice effect that there is color, and then it just disappears and goes into white. And this technique is really good if you have a light color. You can use it with a medium one, but it will be a bit more complicated and it won't be that smooth. And so now you have this beautiful semi-transparent wing. And if you feel like there is not enough color, you can add a bit on top again. So you can say it's another play on the gradient, but you go from color into white. And for the bottom one, we can take TB2, so you have some variety. And again, we color half of the wing. And then we use blender to make it nice and smooth and semi-transparent.
You know, I think a lot of people probably have the blender pen and just don't know what to do with it, Tatiana. So it's nice to be able to see what, you know, nice to be able to get those ideas.
Yes, for a long time I didn't know what to do with blenders. I only used them to correct mistakes, to wash away ink when I put it in the wrong place. And then I discovered that you can do a lot of amazing techniques. This, as you can see, is a bit darker. That's why it's a bit harder to blend it.
Mm-hmm.
There is a different approach. You can first put blender on paper and then you can put marker on top. But for that, you have to work very, very fast, because otherwise you just waste your ink. Because it has to be very wet for it to blend naturally.
Right. And am I doing this right? I'm just washing it away. I'm just literally just going over and over and over the edge with the blender pen.
Yes, and you go as far away as you want. You can do it just with the edge or go a bit further, depending on the transition you want to achieve. And there is a bit of magic here, because I think every time you get a bit different result, it won't be precisely the same. So even if I try to do it all over again, it will look just a tiny bit different. So there is some magic. And because we have this semi-transparency of markers, we can take BT2 again and use it on the top of the bottom wing, because you can see the wings overlap each other a bit, and this way we'll just show it that they actually intersect. And it gives this nice stained glass effect. You can,
And
of
I
course,
guess, Tatiana, with a dragonfly as well, you can have a little bit of artistic license, can't you? Because when the sun catches the wings on a dragonfly, you can see a myriad of different colours, can't you? Purples and pinks and golds and all sorts, don't you?
yes, you can experiment, and you're free to use whichever colors you decide. I wanted to make it a bit limited in colors, so it's easier to follow.
Mm-hmm.
That's why we have mostly 2 sets per artwork, so you know what I'm doing and it's not too confusing, because you can get easily lost in all the beautiful variety we have. And now I'm just adding some darker colors from aquatic family, just to add some dimension to the wings. You can also use a thin nib, like super fine one, and trace the lines and add a bit of dimension. And because on the bottom the ink is a bit wet, it will spread just a tiny bit. Or you can take blender and spread it again, so it's kind of alive and shimmery.
So I just want to jump in and ask Sarah a quick question, actually, Tatiana. So the blender pen, Sarah, what was the thinking behind the blender pen?
What was the thinking behind it?
Yeah.
It's basically your colourless. So every alcohol pen, you need to have a colourless blender to be able to do all these techniques with. So yes, it's it. In every set that we do, there's always a colourless blender in there to be able to blend with. And it's our most popular ink refill set as well, because people must use the blender pen a lot and then refill it.
Fantastic.
Am I doing this right, Tatiana? Just doing a little bit more blending still?
Yes, I think it looks beautiful. And you can vary the amount of blending for different effects. If you feel like, oh, I want it more transparent, more watercolor-like, because it really looks like watercolors. Or you want it more precise, so you can play on this. And I think that's the beauty, so you can make it so versatile, depending on what you want today, what's your mood, and what are you drawing.
You just lose me on this one now, Tatiana. It's because it's the it's just playing with the colourless blend. It's just that blending. This is where I get really, really lost, when it's just lots of the colouring and the blending in particular. Whenever we do these shows, everybody always laughs. It's because I get obsessed with having to have everything really perfectly blended. So it's nice to be able to sit and take your time to blend. To be honest, it's nice for me just to be able to sit and take my time to do it, because I'm always having to try and get I try so hard to get as much as possible into the shows. So it's nice to be able to not have to rush as much and take my time.
It's good to see. We've taken Sarah, Tatiana, so out of her comfort zone in terms of relaxation.
It's great.
Because normally she's like a spring bunny and there is no stopping her. And actually, this is a bit of forced relaxation on a Friday afternoon, Sarah, isn't it?
It is indeed. Just what you need. Just wind me down a little bit. So, right, I know we can't spend all day though on each.
No, well, I'm going to leave you both to it for a second, because we're going to come back in just a second to our next technique. But that's absolutely beautiful, isn't it? And I have to say, a dragonfly, I mean, that's just brilliant, isn't it? You can really, really play and experiment with that. So let me recap everything that's on the show and just explain everything that we've got here. We have got the 40-piece bundle here, which is 10 of the 4 packs of the Illustrator pens that we've put together for this show as well. They're a really, really nice blend, and actually even though when you're looking at some of the outer packets and seeing the colours that go together, you think, okay, how are these going to come together? But you've seen with Tatiana's techniques how it's bringing even really diverse colours together. And it's definitely, if you haven't yet got it, it's well worth getting the Colour Me Happy download for this show as well. The link is in the comments, it's on the website as well. And the great thing is, page by page, it actually shows you the pack of 4 or the 2 packs of 4 that are being used used in each one of the techniques as well, which is really, really good. Lots of you going for the full collection of all 10 sets of the 4 there at £75, $112. Remember, a lot of you going for the multi-buy as well. Now, we have got some storage solutions for your markers as well, which is really, really good. Now, you can go for something smaller or you go for something larger. In fact, Tatiana might like one of these, actually, you know, when you're going out for a little bit of a sketch, because we've got a 24. It's a bit difficult to see, to be honest, and I won't eat that. But this has got spaces, little elastic loops for 24 of your markers. I don't have a marker here at the moment, but I put my finger in there instead. So that's £11.50. So that's a really, really smart little solution, maybe if you're going off to a class. And actually there's a little pocket in the back there as well. So if you wanted to put a sketch pad or something like that in there, then you could do that. But if you want to upgrade that for a larger storage, we have the same again, especially if you're going for the big bundle, because remember, of course, there are a lot more pens in the big bundle. Now, I haven't been in here yet, so I'm going to go in there. You've got the one-touch fastening. Okay, and then we've got kind of essentially 3 pages that you can kind of open up like a folder, and they've all got these loops, as you can see, so the markers will go in them. So page after page after page, and that will hold 72 of those markers, which is really quite clever, isn't it? And you just bring it up together and just secure it with the one touch there, and then that comes back across the top and seals. That's really natty, isn't it? And it's got a long shoulder strap as well, so you've got the shorter one and you've got a longer strap on there as well. £23.50 or $31.50. Now remember, we also have, yes, we've got the 10 sets of that. This is what is going crazy this afternoon. I'm not surprised at all, because remember, this is curated collections as well. Lots and lots of people now, as we're going through the techniques, and we've been through 4 techniques so far, and now that makes complete sense of the color combinations of the illustrators that you've got here as well. Remember, the download is marked if you want to do the multi-buy, but a lot of you are going for them all at once, which is brilliant. £75 or $112 on those as well. So you're saving £24 or $37.50. Of course, that price comes down even further if you're a Club Inspire member, and even further if you're a Platinum Club Inspire member, which is really, really good. Lots of you going for the complete collection as well. Right, are we going back to some drawing now? Are we going back? We're going, this time we're going to be spreading colour, and we're using 3 packs this time. Spreading colour, what do we mean by that, Tatiana?
Spreading color is similar to blending and what we did in a previous technique, but instead of blender, we use another color to spread the first one. So if you can see my table, I have 2 lines here. So we have a dark green that I spread with the blue, and I have an orange that is spread with yellow, so you can see how nicely they are blended into each other. But you have a tiny bit of it. This is really good to use for shadows and for edges. Let me show you an artwork that, just a moment, it's a bit hard to get to, that this technique was used. It's actually on my Discovery set. You can see it here, like on the edges. It's like very, very light, but because of it, it gives a lot of dimension. It separates one petal from another, this tiny bit of orange, but at the same time, it's very blended. So to achieve this effect, you need to spread color. So you physically move one color with another.
I'm excited to see this one, Tatiana. I love colouring that image in your Discovery set.
I'm happy to hear that. And it's actually not that complicated. It may sound confusing, but what you need one dark color or darker. In my case, it's PV4 from the basics. And I take TB3 from the same basic sets. And TB3 is a bit lighter. So we will take our beautiful hummingbird and I will draw the shadow on it. On its belly.
So coming all the way down the belly of the hummingbird with the darker colour.
Yes, with the purple. And again, there is no wrong here. You can use as much or as little. It depends on the effect you want to achieve. And then we take TB3, we start blending it out from the border, and we can see how one ink penetrates into another. And the more we blend the border, the same we did with Blender, the more blended effect we get. So we can make it as blended as we want to.
And I'm guessing this works with some colours, but not all, Tatiana. And is that the benefits of just being in art? Is there a rule for the rest of us to work out which ones would go together, or is this just something that you kind of know from having been through art school?
The rule is that you take always colors that have something in common, because violet and blue, they're close to each other. The same was with green and blue, and the same is with yellow and orange. So you take colors that have like some aspect in common, because purple is basically blue with red, so they have this blue intersection which will allow us to blend it perfectly. And now we can see this effect, and if we think that it's not enough, I want to add a bit more, I can add it on top while ink is still wet, and it will blend beautifully. Sorry, the wrong nib. And we can take this effect further. We can take GT2, it's a aquamarine green from Verdant set. And now we can spread the blue with it. So we start at the boundary and we keep moving away from it. Just leaving some of the color, let it penetrate a bit. And it's not as smooth as blending, but it gives another beautiful effect, I think.
Yes, I'm quite happy with how that's blended out.
And again, you can play with the amount, how much you want to it. For example, here I think I started green too early, so I can cover it over, but it will be already incorporated a bit inside. So we can always play with the amounts of green, of blue. And there will be some boundary, but it won't be rough.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I know most people are spellbound and watching right now, but if you are colouring along, I would love to see where you're up to. Maybe you've got the download as well, and you're just having a little go. Maybe you're doing it with your tri-blends. Maybe you have some illustrators. Maybe you're using some other markers as well. If you're following along with the download, come on. Share what you've done, share what you've learned so far. We'd love to see it. studio@crafterscompanion.co.uk. I love this, and I like this technique as well, because you can really have a little play with this, can't you? Finding partnerships of colour that kind of work together. Could you, Tatiana, with this kind of method, could you start with a slightly slimmer border of the next colour, and then if you weren't quite sure, you could use that blender just to sort of soften that down and change direction? Or would you have to sort of pre-plan that colour band as it goes through?
It's better to pre-plan, but I think it's you still should experiment and let it be a bit different. So maybe you won't get the effect you wanted, but you can get a different, maybe even better one. Who knows? That's like the beauty of it, that you never know. And I will do another one. And this time I want it to be green, so I will take Emerald, AG3, at the bottom of tail, and I will spread it with GT3, which are all part of Verdant set. You can use aquatic set for this bird, it's just that that's what I like. And because these colors have the same lightness, you don't see the spread that much. It's basically more like blending them. Now I'm using GT2 to make it all nice and even.
Just to let everybody know as well, in terms of the 4 packs of illustrators that we're using in this technique, we're using the Verdant, we're using Basics again, and we're using Essentials. And I think that's actually why so many people are going for the full 40, the full 10 packs of the 4. So you can come back and follow all of these techniques as well. It's amazing. I can't take my eyes off the screen. So I'm sorry to interrupt, but I'm just the same. I'm just in awe of everything that's going on here. It's like the Brady Bunch going on over here, and I'm absolutely loving it. I know you are as well. If you want to say hello, if you want to ask Tatiana any questions, by the way, get yourself onto the Crafters TV Facebook page. Have we only got half an hour left? Really? We have only got half an hour left. This show has whizzed by. We've all been a bit of a colouring coma, Sarah, haven't we, on this one?
I know. I'm loving it. I'm really, really enjoying colour. It's just so, like I say, so nice and relaxing, isn't it?
It's wonderful.
So what do you want us to do next, Tatiana?
I just drew a blue line here to separate feathers, just to show that you can make a very thin line and spread it as well. So it doesn't have to be a thick one. It can be a very thin, hardly visible one, but will still look nice, and it will look like these two are separated. And it will have just a tiny, teeny bit of blue. And what you can also do, because Sarah, you nearly finished the wing, you can take one of the greys.
One of the greys, yeah.
Like some light grey. Let
So
me
I've
find
got
something.
I've got the BG2 and the BG6.
Let's take BG2, and you can use it on the very edge of the wing to stretch the green one, and grey will work well with everything, so you will get a beautiful gradient.
So I'm going to blend the green into the grey. Is that right?
Yes, yes.
Oh, I've
And
never
will
done
look-
that before.
And grey works well with everything, so it's such a good color to have.
Tatiana, sorry, just going back in time in terms of, I mean, do carry on by all means, but just coming back to the colours that we were using in transparency. So for the dragonfly, we had a question, I'm sorry that I missed it at the time, from Angel, who said, would that colour combination that we did for the dragonfly wings, would that be good for bubbles?
Yes, I think it will be good for bubbles, but you will need to use a bit darker colors as well, like we have in aquatic, for example, BT5, ETB4, because for bubbles you need very sharp shadows.
Ah, okay, yes.
And for that it looks really nice.
Cool, lovely, thank you very much.
So yeah, you can see that when you add grey, it really looks nice. And it plays a nice contrast with the colorful, bright part of the hummingbird.
And you know, I was talking about earlier, and again, you're speaking to very much an amateur here in me, Tatiana. I'm learning everything as I go along. But even though you won't end up seeing your brush strokes, will you? Because they'll all blend in. Your natural tendency is to flick your brush tip in the direction that the feathers would go. Is that just sort of artist instinct?
Oh, no, I was taught to do so.
Okay, yeah.
So you should follow the lines, you should follow the texture for the best effects.
Lovely. I love that, and I love the way the colours all come together as well. And there's a lovely contrast between the two methods there, which is brilliant. Tatiana, we'll be back to you in just a second. I just need to remind you about this 40-piece Illustrator set. It's really, really busy on the website for this. In fact, a combination of this and the multi-buys absolutely flying on this Friday afternoon. Such a relaxing way into the weekend. These are absolutely brilliant. So these are all of the 10 selections that we've got for this show right now. So we've got the delicate, the vintage, the verdant, the fiery, the aquatic, the natural, stylish, basic essentials, and the botanicals. And the full details and the full listings of all the colours, by the way, are all on the website, so you will find them there. And if you're following along with the Colour Me Happy download, on every page of the download where we change techniques, actually the names and the pictures of the sets that we're using are actually there, which is really, really good. Now, listen, lots of you are saying, okay, well, you keep telling me what's over this side, but what's over this side as well? Well, actually, all of these and all of this is the main bundle for this show that we have on offer for you today, which is really, really good. It's a massive, massive, massive selection of the Illustrator pens. So here, this big selection is all of the 40 that we've seen from the selections from Tatiana's show, plus another 48. So you've got 4 packs there of 12 of the Illustrators in seascape, landscape, figure and sketching. Also in this selection, you're getting the Finesse alcohol proof dye in pebble colour, which is a beautiful colour. You're getting that wonderful Mother Nature stamp. And you are getting 16 sheets of your Nina. Oh, let's not forget the storage trays, because you're getting 2 sets of 6 for that. So enough to store 88 pens. 144 pens you can store in what you're getting in this entire collection. You've got 88 of the Illustrators, and you'll be adding to that collection, I'm sure, as time goes by, as well as different shows come along and as different colours come your way as well. Sarah, how many in the Illustrators, I don't know whether you ever know this number on any one given day, but how many Illustrators are there in the entire collection available?
Yes, we have 216 colours.
Wow.
And all of those colours, what you'll find is, if you've got the tri-blends or if you've got the Spectrum Noir Classiques, they're all the same ink. So they all play nicely together. So what we found was, for a lot of you who were kind of coming on the colouring journey with us, the likelihood of you just getting 216 Illustrator pens is pretty slim. What you're going to do is you're going to get the colour combinations that work really well together. And then if you want to enhance them, you could use 4 of your Illustrators and bring in a couple of your Classiques, or add a little bit from one of your tri-blend colours onto there. So if you've already got a selection of the tri-blends, of the Classique pens, this is brilliant. That 40-piece collection is just them 10 sets that Tatiana have put together to get you started. So it's brilliant for you to take them and add them to all of your other alcohol pens. That's what I would definitely recommend doing.
I do know someone that's nearly got all of them. Director Daniel in the control room right now. You have all of them. All of the Classiques. Got them. 212 of the Classiques he's got in his collection, and he's only been here a couple of weeks longer than I have. Brilliant. See, we're all in. And I tell you what, the great thing is, the reason why Director Daniel, me and everyone that comes here to work at Crafters Companion, let alone watch and be part of it, all jumps on the Club Inspire ladder, and we're all making our way towards platinum. And here's Sarah to show you how you can do it.
Welcome to Club Inspire, our free loyalty club. As a member of the club, you can save up to 20% every time you shop with us. For every £1 you spend, whether it's in one of our stores or on our website, you'll collect 1 loyalty point. The more points you have, the more benefits you'll receive. As a welcome present, we'll give you 20% discount with your very first order. Once you place your first order, you'll be given 250 points straight away, making you a bronze member. This will mean that you'll receive a 5% discount on all of your purchases until the end of the next calendar year, plus priority postage. 500 points takes you up to silver membership, where you'll get 10% discount plus free shipping when you spend over £20. When you get to 750 points, you'll become a gold member, which gets you a whopping 15% discount on every order, and we'll ship them to you completely free, no matter how big or small they are. Spend over £25 and we'll send them to you via our premium next day delivery courier service. When you reach 1500 points, you'll become a platinum member, giving you the same shipping benefits as a gold member, but with the added bonus of a massive 20% discount on all of your purchases. Now, on top of that, you'll receive exclusive discounts, sneak peeks of brand new products, special offers and money-saving vouchers. You'll have access to an exclusive secret Facebook group to meet like-minded friends, to find out information first and to be inspired by all the crafty makes. We'll send you a completely free quarterly Digimag direct into your inbox, giving you lots of hints, tips, inspiration, additional offers and some sneaky behind the scenes gossip from the team. So what are you waiting for? Become a member of our club today.
Kay has just said on Facebook that she doesn't want this show to end, and I think I'm exactly the same, to be honest with you. I think everyone's exactly the same. We are all loving it. And Tatiana, the inspiration you've given us so far in this show, absolutely fantastic. Now listen, you're an artist, you're an experienced illustrator. You went to art school when you were 7 years old, I read on your website.
Yes, I started art school when I was 7 and I spent 10 years there. Then I had a bachelor in design where I also was drawing and then master in art. So it was a long journey.
That's incredible. And listen, as an artist, you've got access to thousands of different companies and thousands of different products for you to use. And you are a big fan of our illustrators and the way they work. What was it that really kind of grabbed you about our markers?
There are different things that really attracted me. One of them was the shape, because I'm one of those people who keep losing my markers because I draw with so many of them, like 30 or 40 lines on my table. They keep rolling off. And because of the shape of the Illustrator, they don't, which means a lot to me.
Yes.
And then it's very convenient to hold because I'm one of those artists that spends long time on each artwork, so I can draw like 4 hours, maybe 8 hours, one piece, sometimes even longer, and I can work up to 4 hours at a time. And it's very important to have a pen that is comfortable to hold, because after an hour or so you get tired. And I don't want to be limited in what I can create by the material I'm using, by its ergonomics. And another big thing for me was the whole friendly and joyful energy of the company. As Sarah mentioned, I met her in Frankfurt at this huge event with lots of different vendors, and I had a chance to talk to different companies. And I was surprised by the response of some of them, which they were not interested in artists. They were not interested to talk with the actual consumers. And that was off-putting, because when you love a brand, when you spend a lot of money on it, when you use it every single day, you want the brand to respond, at least somehow. You want them to be as excited as you are. And if somebody's not, it's very sad.
Yeah, no, it's so true, isn't it? When you feel a genuine passion for it, you want someone else to equal that level of enthusiasm. And that started a real kind of meeting of minds, didn't it, really, between yourselves and us here at Crafters Companion. And we got straight into a collaboration for a discovery kit, didn't we?
Yes, I was very excited by the response from Sarah and Simon, and they wanted to do something together. And the first thing that we did was the discovery kit, where I was given the opportunity just to freely choose any 5 colors and to see what I can create. And again, what you will find with this kit is that it's 5 markers, but it's not 5 colors. Just let me show it to you, because I have it on my table. This is actually, let me bring it closer. This is actually the list of all colors you can create by blending and overlaying the colors. So you can make different greens, purple, brown, kind of grayish purple, and even bright red, and all this with just 5 colors. So it's lots of experiment and blending. And that's like what I love about this project, because we can experiment and create. And I just want to show you, I have here a couple of macaroons from my set. And this is, can you see them? I hope.
Sarah, I can see why you absolutely had to secure this lady's talent.
And this is just 5 markers. You can see that such a variety you can create.
And that artwork that you're showing, Tatiana, I've got your discovery kit here. So we've included in the discovery kit a few of Tatiana's pieces of artwork that she's using there. So we've got those lovely, do you want me to show you them here? You've got the lovely tulips that you were showing. Also those, there's a nice, like, with some grapefruits and a piece of tea, and the macaroons as well that you were showing. So we can practice colouring that in on that special alcohol pen card. And Tatiana worked with us on putting together the little instruction booklet. Now I feel like I'm teasing everyone, Tatiana, because your kit has been so popular. We are completely out of stock of it, and it's been sold in retailers now all over the world, actually, this discovery kit. So it's a brilliant way for brand new people to get into this. And we went from doing the discovery kit to then working with you for you to put these 4-piece colour sets together. So would you say, for someone just starting out, maybe someone who's got the discovery kit, is this, if they go for this 40-piece collection, if they go for the 40 markers next to 10 sets, is that going to give you a good grounding of all the colours, would you say?
Yes. The big problem, I think, for every novice is that you see these 200 plus colors and you get lost because you want to have everything and sometimes you can't, and you can't choose the best combination because you're just starting. And these kits are created this way that it's a good base, and they, as I mentioned, they mix and match, so you don't have to think, will this work together or not? You just can pull any color from the from all of these 4-piece 10 boxes, and you can be sure that they will work nicely together. For example, we have this bright MG one that we used for flamingo, and we can pair it with some colors from Delicate like FS3, and will make for nice flower, and or you can add even more dimension to flamingo. So we have this range of blues and greens and earth tones. We have some bright colors, and they all work well together. That was my main thing, to make it a cohesive story. So you can create with all of them. So you don't have to be like, oh, I bought this color, but now it doesn't work with anything else.
That makes sense. And we're using the delicates in the last little bit of the workshop, aren't we? We're doing the light dots, and I've got my delicates all ready to go on the next one. Should we see if we can squeeze that one in before the end of the show?
Yes. I hope we will manage to finish it. But you're very quick, so I'm sure you will be good. But it's great to see somebody so energetic and active and not to be bored.
Oh, it's great. You could. There's no way you could be bored with this show at all. But we must get to our final page. I feel like I'm referee now. We're on the final page on light dots. So, right, and you've got on your board there, haven't you, light dots and the effect that we're looking to create right now, Tatiana?
Yes. This is a lovely effect if you want to get some texture and dimension to your background, because they look like bouquet or maybe bubbles, and they give some energy to otherwise pretty boring background. And you can also use it to create city lights or any twinkling lights. So it's a very fun thing, and you can also use it practically. For example, if you didn't like the blend somewhere, it didn't work that well, you can see the seam between colors. What you can do is add some light dots there, and it will make everything alive and moving, and so it won't look as the blend is not perfect. So you can be tricky with it. So
awesome.
Here we have
I'm ready to go.
This nice city. You can either take the true black and color the bottom part of the city, or you can use a gray one. It's totally up to you what you like. The gray one will be BG6, because for this we're using essentials with Blender and Delicate. So you can take any of these and color the bottom part, just leaving the circles. And I would advise to color a bit out of the boundaries, because later we will use Blender to add this effect that the city is in the distance, because we'll blur the edge and it will look really, really nice.
Fabulous.
Right, so is that what we're doing? We're starting and colouring all the base in with the black?
Yes.
I'm following you, Tatiana.
Look, Sarah's following this time. It's taken 2 hours.
An hour and 50 minutes, actually.
That's true, yeah, that's true, yeah. A long time. It's very, very busy on the website right now. I think ultimately, if I were you right now, I would be just sticking around to watch the end of this demonstration and then getting in and grabbing my illustrators, because you've got so many things you can do with them right now. And if you've got your tri-blends, your classics, you're going to be trying these kind of same techniques with those as well. This is awesome as well, isn't it?
I love the way. What I love about them, about this one, Derek, is it doesn't replace anything you've already got. So if you've got all the classics, if you've got the tri-blend, it just adds to it and enhances it.
Yes.
It means you can do more techniques with what you've already got because they work together. It's not an instead of, it's not a replacement for, which is why we haven't gone and said, oh, buy this 216-piece collection, because actually you're not going to really, realistically, unless you're a professional artist like Tatiana, you are unlikely to need all 216 colours.
Yes,
She's curated exactly what you need in the 4-piece sets for, you know, whether it's complete beginners getting started with alcohol markers, or, as most of our customers are, people who have alcohol markers and are supplementing them with a few of the Illustrator, the high-end brush nib ones that we have.
And I believe that actually when the collections were being curated, that Leanne might have given a slightly sideways glance at some of the colour combinations initially, thinking, okay, well, you know, I kind of know colour, but how are these going to go together? And Tatiana's magic, of course, made all of that happen. I love the way that cityscape is coming to life, Tatiana. It's brilliant, isn't it? It's so even as well, isn't it?
Yes, and I'm not trying that much, so I'm moving, as you can see, in all directions. So just to make it quick, and the ink spreads nicely, so I don't have to worry that. And I'm a bit sloppy with these circles on purpose. I'll show you later why.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We can move to a next step as soon as Sarah is ready.
Oh, I'm ready.
Oh, yeah,
I'm
go
ready
for it.
when you are, my dear.
Go for it, go for it. I have to be time-marshalled now, I'm afraid, because we've only got literally 3 or 4 minutes.
Now we will take Blender, and we will just go along the lines. Oh, sorry, I'm just blending them a bit, and you can see that it gets softer. Because so you will get this effect of blurriness, like when you take a picture and it's not completely perfect.
Like a slight visual haze.
Yes, and it gives you a realistic effect. And it's very easy. You see, you don't have to use many colors. You can just use Blender.
And this would terrify me, Tatiana, if you weren't telling me it was okay to do it, because I would be really worried about getting the black on the edge of my Blender pen and damaging the pen.
But you can wash it later, like I can have some boundaries, so you can put a bit of Blender, and it's again nice and clean.
Yes. So when Tatiana said to wash the pen, that you're literally just letting the ink run through it. So you're just going to scribble it off onto some scrap paper until all of the black comes out.
So it's very easy. And here, for example, I can show on these circles that are a bit sloppy. I can take the Blender and I can correct the edges by washing away some of the ink. They won't be as white as paper because the ink will still leave some trace, but you can see how it looks way more like a circle or an oval than it used to. So that's how you can correct if you were not a bit precise or not precise as you would like to be. So Blender is your best friend if you want to fix something. And here I would like to make one more circle. I will just take any part and I will start moving in circles. And that's where it's really good to have this underlined piece of paper, because I'm literally washing away the ink. And the more I move my marker, the lighter the area becomes. So here I have this nice greyish circle.
Ah, yes,
And
that's just adding, isn't it? Adding another layer of dimension.
And if I move just a bit, not as much as I did the first time, I will have a more subtle circle that maybe you don't even see. Can you see it? It's not as bright as the first one.
So you're doing this with the, because I'm trying it with the very fine nib now, Tatiana. Is that better than the...
With the brush, you can make like a softer one, and with the fine nib, you can have very little circles if you want.
Mm-hmm.
And you can make them as bright as you want them. They won't be completely white, because it's very hard to wash away all the black. But you can make them. Sometimes just enough, just tap in several times, and you will have some trace. It's maybe too small to see, but it gives you some dimension, activity, and illusion that something is going on. So it's not just static. And I think it's a very fun and easy technique, because you can do as many or as few of these circles as you want. And then you can add color on the top. For example, here we have CR2 from Delicate, and I can color it a bit so it feels like it's light coming through.
And I'm going over mine for the third time here, Tatiana, and I'm really pleasantly surprised at how much ink we've been able to take out, actually.
Yes, you can take a lot of ink. The black is the hardest one. That's why I'm showing on the black what is the potential, because on the example we had this beautiful green and blue.
Yeah.
Like sea green, and here you can take it nearly to white.
That's incredible, isn't it? Ladies, listen, and producer Laura keeps nudging me along in my ear saying it's time to wrap up, and I really don't want to. I want this show to go on forever and ever and ever and ever. But that's amazing. I can't believe, Sarah, in less than 2 hours, how many, just the breadth of the techniques that we have picked up within the last 2 hours. Incredible, isn't it?
Do you want me to recap over them for anybody who's just kind of joined us?
Yes.
So we learned about gradients to start with, and we were doing the wonderful flamingo and putting the depth, making his neck look a little bit dimensional, roundness on the tummy, some feathers. Then we moved on to gradient with different colours. So we looked how to create that lovely sunset with the gradient in there as well. Then we did a little bit of overlaying of colour, and we learned how to blend different colours together like this. That was my favourite one that we learned to do. We moved on to transparency, and we learned about doing different layers of transparency using the blender pen. Then we also learned how to spread colour with different coloured markers so that you can get that lovely ombre effect of colours. And then the last one that we've just done, of course, has been the light dot selection as well. So it's 6 very, very different techniques that we've covered. And this whole workbook was put together by Tatiana for us to be able to work through like this and learn these techniques. And bear in mind, you've been able to pair up the colours that she's put together in the sets exactly with the illustration she's done. Now, we've had a load of people colouring along with us at home, and we've been having a few pictures sent in. So Kiki has been, she's been working literally along with the same illustrators, working that along at the same time. Kiki, I love it. And then also Jude looked like she kind of got to the same sort of, do you know, Jude, you did better than I did, because I hadn't left that little bit of highlight on the neck to do the dotty effect, but you did. Jude, that's brilliant. Oh, and Astrid's been working on the dragonfly. She sent us her picture of where she's been doing the transparency technique with the dragonfly. If you've all been colouring along with us, please keep sending us your pictures. And also bear in mind, this tutorial is going to live now on our website forever and a day. So you can come back to it at any time. If you're going for the set of Illustrators today, you can keep that down. That download will stay up there. You can go download it at any point, save it onto your computer. It's completely free, and work along this tutorial step by step, pausing it when you need to, coming back and picking up loads of techniques. Because Tatiana, it's been so inspiring and wonderful to have you on the show. I know everybody's been saying they've absolutely loved it, really enjoyed it, and got a lot from it. So thank you so much for giving up your time today as well.
Thank you for this opportunity, Sarah. It was very fun to show everyone the techniques. So this is everything we tried out today.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
And, I hope you learned a lot, and keep going, keep experimenting, keep trying, and never stop.
We certainly will. Definitely will. I think we've all taken something massive away from this show as well. And actually, one comment actually from June sums up, I think, what we all feel on this. This has been one of our best classes. I so love that we're learning new techniques. Thank you, CC. A real treat. You're awesome. Well, you know what? You are very, very welcome as well. And Tatiana, I know you will be back with us again very, very soon, and we'll be collaborating again. Thank you again so much. A brilliant, brilliant show. Thank you so much. And listen, make sure that you get hold of whatever you want to from the show, whether it's the big collection with all of the pens and the storage and the paper, whether it's the sets of the 4 pens that were curated just for the techniques in this show, or whether it's the multi-buys. Now is the time to get those baskets checked out. In fact, actually, now we've all come out of our colouring coma, it's time now to go and decide what goodies we want. Listen, I think I should probably tell you a little bit about what's happening tomorrow as well, should I? Because you know, we're a little bit over time now, aren't we? Sarah, let's find out when you're back on screen first of all.
Yes, I'm going to be back here in about an hour. Because tonight is the big HSN preview night. So those of you watching in the US, you don't need to go anywhere. You need to go and get yourself something to eat or something to drink, and I'll be back here in just under an hour's time for a full 3-hour preview of everything coming up on HSN next week.
Alrighty, so that will be on the Crafters Companion USA page. Make sure you are there with Joe and Sarah in an hour. Tomorrow I will be back, and it's our Debbie Robinson tomorrow. We've got a masterclass in the morning with our Garden of Love collection, and we're in the Craft House in the afternoon, which is I love because we get some of you into the show as well. Listen, enjoy the rest of your Friday. Don't forget, if you're in the US, you've got an appointment back here on the Crafters Companion US page in about an hour for the HSN preview. We've got you all day and every day. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Bye-bye.